Ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time hearing about this particular story, there have been a countless amount of updates on this story, and I'm thankful that so many people took their time and spent so much energy talking about this story that came out of Las Vegas earlier this year. It was probably one of the more, how can I say this? It was probably one of the biggest stories that had to do with child abuse this year. And the nature of the story is really crazy because this child was in the biological mother's care. The biological father was in jail at the time. Mom ended up with a boyfriend directly after. Matter of fact, while she was pregnant with this beautiful baby boy that you see in the center of my screen. Then she ended up with another guy after that, which is this jerk off right here. So let me warn you guys, I'm going to give you guys some details about many of these stories that are not going to sit well with your sensibilities. No, this is not the news station. We're doing this live. Please respect the show. If you can't handle that, I understand if y'all need to go get your news elsewhere. Just Google search the story, exit my video. Simple thing to do, right? Maybe not for some people. The woman that you see on my screen is now, in my opinion, she was always the start of all of these problems that happened in this story. So let me try to fast forward and tell you guys what happened. There was a little boy by the name of Amari Nicholson who was in the care of his mother. At this particular time, mom was in a relationship, if you could even call it that, with this fool right here, who just seems to be like a Billy badass, like he think he could just whoop anybody and everybody. You know what I'm saying? Definitely posed as a threatening figure to the mom. Now, why women put themselves in these positions, and yes, I said that right. You have every choice, my body, my choice. So if you choose to be with a thug and you choose to date a thug, you see the shirt, my t-shirt says, hashtag, when you date thugs, you date death. That is an AFC hashtag. Why did I create that hashtag? Because I thought it, I felt it, and I said, you know what? It seems to make sense with a lot of the stories that we've been talking about almost for 4 years now. Almost 4 years. And it seems like it makes a lot of sense that if you are going to be a single woman and you're just out there just in the dating world, you date whoever you want to. If you're putting yourself in danger, then it is what it is. Your life is your choice. But here's the huge caveat. When you decide to stop being single and stop thinking about yourself and bring children into this world, this is no longer a life about you. Let alone, even if you believe in biblical principle, it never should be a life about you. But let's just say outside of children, fine. But when you have children, now you have to protect your children, be there for them, and live your life to serve your children until they are able to sustain themselves, get themselves on their feet, and to be able to build and continue to keep creating a lineage that is worth something. Okay? When you choose to date, I don't think it's a good idea for you to be a woman with small kids dating a bunch of fools. Dating, really dating altogether. I had a conversation with somebody about this in my comment section, and they thought I was saying, well, Jay, that's not fair that you say mothers shouldn't be allowed to date. Well, actually, I think it is. Because if you look at the numbers, all of the children that are disappearing each and every year, and I'm just speaking from the heart, we haven't even got to the story yet, so bear with me. All of the children that are coming up missing, all of the children that come up raped, murdered, stabbed, shot, killed, beat up, blunt force trauma, choked, drowned, thrown into rivers, sold into the sex trade, that is impossible to happen. And let me repeat what I just said. That does not happen if you care about your children. But take a drink to that. I'm drinking on some Bang. Drink and bang, because I know that was a shot to a lot of y'all's heart. I know that probably hurt you, especially if you got really thin skin. If you can't understand that this is what a man does, a father does, is we hold people accountable, including myself. That's what we do. That's what we are good at. That's in our nature, to hold those accountable. Therefore, when you take the father out of the household, you have a bunch of bullcrap and chaos going on. I'm sorry, but mothers need help. Can y'all type that in the chat if anybody believes what I'm saying? If you don't, it's fine. You don't have to type it in. I believe that mothers need help. If you believe that mothers need help, type it in the chat. Hit the thumbs up. Share this video. Let other people know that we're here talking about this, having a real serious conversation that needs to be had. Mothers need help. You can't raise children by yourself. You can't raise children with thugs in the household. You cannot raise children with men in the household who are not law-abiding citizens. You cannot raise children in your household if you have a man who ain't about shit, who brings nothing to the table except his sexual pleasures for your body. Huh? Is that pretty clear? They need help, and that help is supposed to come from the man that you procreate with, from the biological father. If you're not willing to let him help, if you're not willing to let him be a man, then why do we continue to keep putting ourselves in this position? Why do we continue to allow these men to enter our body, you accept their seeds, carry their children all the way to term, and then have the children, put the men on child support with this constant threat of financial this and financial that and blah, 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 and you ain't a man, while this fool is sitting at the house and ain't got to contribute a damn thing to your children. But he get access all day long just because that's what you want. It's a selfish mentality. Everybody understand where I'm coming from? Now, for those of y'all who are ready to hear the story, please click the thumbs up. I need to see about 400 to 600 thumbs up if we can get that cool. If not, I understand. But please help us share this, okay? The woman that you see on my screen right there is a mother of a 2-year-old boy allegedly murdered by mom's boyfriend. But that woman, let me see if I can get her face back up on the screen, because he was the subject, but we'll talk about him here in a minute. I can't talk, tongue-tied. We'll talk about him here in a minute. Let's talk about the mom, because everybody came out trying to defend her and make it seem they were in all of these Facebook groups talking about, we need to defend the mom. We don't know what she was going through. She was being abused by this man and blah, blah, blah. Do y'all know what the mom was doing while her boyfriend was arrested for what we believe to be the murder of 2-year-old Amari Nicholson? Y'all know what she was out there doing? Well, some of y'all who are responsible people who are in those Facebook groups called it out when you saw it. They actually found that that woman, if you can even call her that, had an OnlyFans page. Does that make her a bad person for having an OnlyFans? No, it does not. I think it's fine for anybody to have an OnlyFans page. Hell, if I felt like I could make some money off of selling my OnlyFans, I would have an OnlyFans page. But I ain't sexy enough to have an OnlyFans page. I don't mind that. But here's the problem. We're talking about the mentality. With all jokes aside, we're talking about her mentality. Her mentality was that after the disappearance of her son that she allegedly didn't know about, then she found out about the murder of her son. After they found his body, she turned around and was active on her OnlyFans page and was posting sexual content and sexual innuendo on her on her OnlyFans page. There's a small percentage of people out there who might think there's nothing wrong with that. Well, I do. Because if you are enticing people for sex while your kid is missing or dead, or you're thinking about how to hit your next lick, while your child is missing or dead? You thinking about how to make your next move while your child is missing or dead? Something shows me that you don't care about your child, which further points me to the point that I was trying to make in the beginning, is I believe that the mother doesn't care about her son at all. So let me tell you guys this. Mom that you see acting like she was so distraught was actually arrested on prostitution charges in Las Vegas Wednesday morning recently, according to multiple reports. How many of y'all are surprised? She wasn't arrested for having an OnlyFans page. She wasn't arrested for guys trying to holler at her. She was arrested for prostitution, specifically. That means her actions caused her to be arrested. Now, granted, I've told you guys that I believe that she was being pimped out by her boyfriend, but because her boyfriend looked like a pimp, acted like a pimp, and caused this woman during her interviews to keep her eyes lower to the ground, to not make eye contact with people, because eye contact actually shows a form of respect, which is what pimps want you to not do. They don't want you to have respect for any man other than themselves, which is why they always tell you to put your eyes down, put your head down. If y'all ain't familiar with the pimping game, right? I believe that he was pimping her the entire time. But a pimp can't have a pimp without a willing whore. You smell me? A pimp can't do what he does unless a woman agrees to do so. Again, we put the onus back on her while she's dolled up with all this damn makeup, looking like a streetwalker. Taylor Nicholson was arrested at the MGM Grand Hotel. How about that? On Las Vegas Boulevard after midnight on 3 counts of soliciting prostitution by undercover Las Vegas Metropolitan Police officers. Let me point something else out and let me prove to y'all how slow the woman that you see on my screen is. This woman has been in national headlines. Does anybody understand where I'm about to go with this? She was in national headlines. Don't you think for a little moment that while you're in national headlines, that there's a lot of smoke around you? And you know what they say about a lot of smoke being around? There's usually fire, right? Don't you think that everybody is now going to be watching your moves because they know your face, they know what you look like, they know what you're going through, and they're going to be watching what you do. You go somewhere, you are going to be recognized. Yes? You've got to be another level of stupid. You've got to be another level of dumb if you didn't realize, oh yeah, that's right. Maybe this is not the time to be doing something illegal. That's just a special level of stupid. Anyway, she was also charged with possession of a dangerous weapon identified as brass knuckles. Nicholson, who was 21 years old, allegedly discussed an exchange of money for her sexual services at the MGM Grand Bar Tuesday night. And while walking to a hotel room with 3 undercover officers, Nicholson was arrested. Hashtag fly under the radar. Thank you. But you know what? I'm glad that criminals sometimes do things in the open whenever they record their crimes, when they know that there are video cameras anywhere and everywhere. They know people could be wired and they still do what they do, because nowadays in the technology era, it makes it a hell of a lot easier for us to be able to get criminals off the street. So criminals, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being so stupid. stupid. Three counts, 3 officers, 3 charges. Or excuse me, maybe it's 1 charge, 3 counts. The next day, on May the 12th, the missing boy's body, actually I skipped a part. Hold on, let me go back. I went a little bit too far. Her son, 2-year-old Amari Nicholson, was reported missing from an apartment complex on Paradise Road on May the 5th, only a few months ago. Taylor Nicholson's boyfriend, let me see if I can get his stupid face up on the screen. Y'all, hold on a moment. Let's go back. That individual right there, that is her boyfriend, 27-year-old Terrell Rhodes, and he was arrested on May the 11th for murder. Nicholson had reportedly left her son in the care of her boyfriend while the mom went out of town. Mom was the biological mother of this little boy, was going to go see her mom, and she left her son in the care of her boyfriend. She said she had to make an emergency trip to care for her mother in Colorado. The next day, on May the 12th, the missing boy's body was found at an apartment complex on the 400 block of East Twain Avenue. On Tuesday, June 29th, the Clark County Coroner's Office ruled that Amari Nicholson died of homicide by unspecified means. Rhodes, the boyfriend, told police that the boy had urinated in his clothing and he struck the boy 3 to 4 times in the body with a closed fist. Rhodes said after that, the boy stopped breathing. So he attempted CPR, but the boy died, and Rhodes reportedly told police that he disposed of the boy's body. Now, that's not the initial story that they got whenever they did the TV interview. So you'll have to kind of go back into the news stories and go find that story and watch the interview, because both of them lied about where the boy was and what happened. They tried to say that somebody came from the dad's side of the family to pick up the kid. Lying. It was a flat out lie. Now, Rhodes was charged with murder and 4 counts of resisting a public officer with a firearm and 4 counts of assault on a protected person with the use of a deadly weapon. And Rhodes has allegedly grabbed an officer's gun during his arrest. Now, for all of those Black Lives Matter people out there talking about the police is out here shooting unarmed black men, and there is no way that a black man would go for a police officer's gun. There's no way that would happen. Even when we are able to show you video evidence of these fools actually doing it, sometimes you get bad body camera footage. But how about the fact that they actually caught it on real good surveillance cameras? So I'll show y'all that. But let me give you guys the fair usage, and let me let y'all listen to her arrest, and then we'll get back to the boyfriend. It's a whole lot to talk about. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Let me get this off the screen. Let's get it.
Of a 2-year-old boy found murdered last month is behind bars now, and according to the county jail documents, Taylor Nicholson was arrested.
I'm sure y'all probably couldn't hear that. Let me turn it up a little bit.
Of a 2-year-old boy found murdered last month is behind bars now, and according to the county jail documents, Taylor Nicholson was arrested today on suspicion of soliciting or engaging in prostitution. This news comes as prosecutors announced they will not seek the death penalty against Terrell Rhodes, the man accused of killing her son, Amari, and hiding his body last month.
Now let me turn this down just a little bit. That's a little bit of an update for some of y'all. They are not going to seek the death penalty against the boyfriend. That was a little bit of news I didn't tell you guys about just yet, but they've already told you.
death penalty against Terrell Rhodes, the man accused of killing her son, Amari, and hiding his body last month. He pleaded not guilty to 11 felony counts, including murder. A trial hasn't been set. It's actually set today for July 9th.
We are going to begin with a developing story at this hour. The mother of a 2-year-old who was killed back in May is now facing prostitution charges. Court records show 21-year-old Taylor Nicholson is facing 3 counts of soliciting and/or engaging in prostitution. She was arrested today and is being held on $5,000 bail right now. And we've also learned that prosecutors will not seek the death penalty for Terrell Rhodes. He's Nicholson's former boyfriend, who police say admitted to killing the boy. The district attorney said, quote, "Rest assured, my office intends to move forward and seek justice for Amari by pursuing the conviction of Mr. Rhodes on the charge of murder and ensuring that he spends the rest of his life in prison," end quote.
And the mother of a toddler allegedly killed by her boyfriend, now arrested on prostitution charges. We are talking about Taylor Nicholson, who faced a judge today. She is charged with 3 counts of prostitution and 1 count of possession of a deadly weapon. Police say she offered sex to an undercover detective and had brass knuckles with her at the time. Her boyfriend is charged with killing her 2-year-old son, Amari. We'll update you on developments regarding his charges in just a moment. After Taylor faced the charges today in court, the judge released her on her own recognizance.
Your Honor, I would ask any release be conditioned on an order out of the resort corridor.
Her next court appearance is at the end of July. Christian.
Now here's the part that's going to get a little bit crazy. This is actually the video of him trying to this is mom's boyfriend, trying to get out of the handcuffs, and this is where he grabs the gun. So I need y'all to watch this. Really pay attention to this video. Here we go. Let's get it. For all the people who say an unarmed black man would never go for a police officer's gun, I want y'all to watch this. He has the gun in his hands. Look how many people it takes to subdue that little bitty skinny dude. Four grown people for that little bitty skinny dude. The audio just cut out on this one. Look at how long this takes. He could have shot and killed everybody in that room. And I want y'all to notice that the cops didn't shoot him or pull their gun out on him. And this was a case where they had every right to do it.
This is the video.
So I want y'all to take a look at this. Here we go.
Right here, you can see this video that was presented to a grand jury. It shows Rhodes trying to kill 3 police officers in this small interrogation room. It starts with him handcuffed to a table, him trying to slip out of that cuff, and he starts crying, and detectives enter the room.
I can't go back. I can't go back. I can't go back, Rhodes says while sobbing. As one detective tries to comfort him, touching his arm and back, Rhodes jumps across the table and grabs the female detective's gun. The female officer punches Rhodes multiple times in the head, trying to get back her weapon. It's a life or death fight, all out chaos as other officers run in to help.
We'll let y'all watch this again. He reached out, grabbed her gun, and took it from her. How he wasn't able to do anything, they are all very blessed.
And grabs the female detective's gun.
I want y'all to look at that, because this is exactly what happens in a lot of situations, and it doesn't mean all, but they would have been totally justified. Thank you for posting that in the chat. But then Black Lives Matter, when it came out, said they shot an unarmed black man. He wouldn't do nothing. He was on his way to college. We don't believe he. Then they would have built a statue for this fool and everything. They would have had his record cleared. Everything.
And grabs the female detective's gun. The female officer punches Rhodes multiple times in the head, trying to get back her weapon. It's a life or death fight, all out chaos as other officers run in to help.
Drop the gun!
The female officer continues hitting Rhodes, jumping on the table to regain control.
Drop the gun! Terrell, drop the gun! You're making things worse!
It is 4-on-1, and the officers finally managed to get the gun away. They say during the struggle, Rhodes said, quote, "I'm gonna kill." Police say all of this happened after Rhodes confessed to killing 2-year-old Amari. Last month, police in the community searched for the little boy, who was reported missing on May 5th for an entire week before Rhodes was arrested and confessed. This is what he told Fox 5 days after he allegedly murdered the boy as the search was ongoing.
If anybody got him, bring him back. People is making this a finger pointing game, and this is not a finger pointing game. My son is really missing.
And at some point during his interrogation, police say Rhodes drew them this map, leading detectives to where the boy's body had been hidden all along.
All right, so let's take a closer look at that map. You can see right over here, this is Twain Avenue. This is the McDonald's, Siegel Suites, and Emerald Suites. The Emerald Suites is where Rhodes, Amari's mother, and the 2-year-old were staying. And this mark right here in the center, this black dot, that is where Rhodes says that Amari's body was hidden. Rhodes now faces a first-degree murder charge for the toddler's death, as well as multiple other felonies, including attempted murder for the 3 police officers for what happened in that interrogation room.
Now, here's what I want you guys to remember. For those who say that the cops just could have just ran out of the room, no, they couldn't have. They couldn't have just ran out of the room. Do y'all know why they should not have run out of that room? Why they should have hopped on to him and tried to take the gun? Does anybody know why? When these fools get desperate enough to do anything, what do they usually try to do? They usually will try to hurt themselves. So even though he might have had their gun, they might have ran out of the room and they might have been safe, he would have tried to probably take his own life. He would have done what a coward would do and not face up to the fact that he hurt a 2-year-old child and didn't want to face the consequences of that. He would have tried to smoke himself. Exactly. Thank you. I do have to agree with one of my members in the chat said the baby could have been his insurance that the mom was going to come back. So I don't know what to believe or not to believe, but the mom made it seem like she was getting ready to break up with the boyfriend. So knowing that this man has your child, then it's possible that he could have threatened to make sure that the mom was going to come back, threaten her child. I don't really know how that's going to play into this, but that might also be a sad reality of it as well. But it still doesn't make it any better. The fact that mom decided to go to the Thug Zoo and decided to go play with the Thug Lions and then leave her child inside of the Thug Lion cage. Mom is not a victim. Can we please type that in the chat? Mom is not a victim, nor was she ever. She made her choice. And when I say thug, I don't mean thug by skin color, because it's not a skin color. Thug is an action. Thug is an action. The actions of mom's boyfriend was that of a thug lion that mauled and murdered this baby for no other reason other than the fact that he was mad at the mom and he shares no DNA tie to this kid. That was selfish. It was cowardice. And the fact that that fool acted like that in front of the police and tried to grab the gun and take the coward's way out. I'm glad he survived. I'm glad the police realized that maybe we can get the gun away from him and didn't have to shoot him and kill him inside of that investigation room. that now he can actually face the music. And I hope he gets every bit of what's due to him in jail. Whatever they decide to do to him in prison, I'm all for it. Whatever that means, I'm all for it. Because I would hope that somebody would stand on justice, because people should be scared of the consequences of the actions that they take against children. They should fear that with every hair in their body and every bone and breath in their body. They should fear the repercussions when you mess with our children. 2-year-old Amari Nicholson could not speak for himself, nor could he defend himself against the tyranny of his mother and her mother's boyfriend. And I think the fact that the mother being arrested for prostitution just adds more insult to the already existing injuries. She is a horrible person, and she should no longer be allowed to have children. What do we call that in the AFC? Hashtag TTO and TTT. They do not deserve reproductive rights. I think that should be a mandatory law in America. When you are found to be an incompetent human being to be around children, care for children, that you put them at a great risk, I think you should have your reproductive rights taken as well as your freedom. That little boy deserves justice, and the fact that we're already losing an uphill battle, that they're talking about taking the death penalty off the table, is just beyond me. If you're going to have the death penalty, if he doesn't deserve it, then why do we even have it? For who? For what? What's more worse than taking the fruit of our country, the most precious ones, the innocent ones, those who can't speak for themselves, those who can't defend themselves, and those who depend on us for everything that they get, our children? If we're not going to stand up for them in the grandest way, then there really is no real justice in America if we're not going to go get justice for our babies first. I want a solo shot of this baby by himself. Let me see if I can find it. That's probably my favorite picture of Amari, young Prince, R.I.P. He deserves so much better. Hopefully by the time we bring you guys the final report, that both mom and boyfriend will be doing a whole lot of time in prison, because they're just absolutely detestable people. All right, I'm DJ Just J. We're the AFC, where we advocate for children first. Thank you for listening with an open mind and an open heart. Thank you.